Chapter 20 of our grammar book is sequence of tenses. This chapter will cover topics like what is sequence of tenses, some rules of sequence of tenses, and some exceptions with examples. Come, let's take a tour to the world of sequence of tenses. What is sequence of tenses? Sequence of tenses refer to the rules according to which the tense of a subordinate clause depends on the tense of the main clause. So that, for example, I think that you were wrong becomes I thought that you were wrong in the past tense. Rules? Yes, there are certain rules. Rule number one: if the verb in principal clause is in present or future tense, the verb in subordinate clause may be in any tense according to sense. What? What does it mean? It means if the principal clause has a verb in the present tense or the future tense, the verb in the subordinate clause can take any tense. The tense of the subordinate clause is decided based on the type of information that is being conveyed. Example: I know what he is doing. I know what he was doing. I know what he'll be doing. You can see when the principal clause is having present or future tense, the subordinate clause can take any tense, present, past, or future, depending on the information provided in the sentence. If you have a verb conjugated in the past tense in the main clause or the principal clause, then make sure you conjugate the verb in the subordinate clause, also in the past tense. This rule can be further broken down based on the form of past tense that appears in the principal clause. For examples, I know he was telling a lie. He worked hard so that he might pass. Here, the verb of principal clause and subordinate clause are all in past tense. Wait. But there are certain exceptions too. Exception number one: in some cases, such as one in which the subordinate clause is a general fact, a routine action, or a universal truth, the tense has to be present, even if the principal clause is a past tense form of the verb. Example: the teacher told us that the earth is round. Here you can see the tense of the principal clause is in past, whereas the tense of the subordinate clause is in present. Exception number two: if the subordinate clause expresses any place, reason, or comparison, then it may be in any tense according to the sense. Example: he did the work as honestly as I do. Here the tense of the principal clause is in past, whereas the tense of the subordinate clause is in present. They don't follow any rule, they just follow the sense. Exception number three: if the subordinate clause is an adjective clause, it may be in any tense required by the sense. Example: I met a boy who sells newspapers. Here you can see that the tense of the principal clause is in past, but the tense of the subordinate clause is in present, depending on the sense or the situation. some more rules. Rule number 1. If the subordinate clause is introduced by that as a conjunction, may is used if the main clause is in present tense or future tense. Example, we study that we may pass, or we will study that we may pass. Here you can see that has been used as a conjunction and we have used may in subordinate clause, whereas the main clause is having present tense or future tense in their main verb. Rule number 2. If the subordinate clause is introduced by that as a conjunction, might is used if the main clause is in the past tense. Example, he studied that he might pass. So you have seen that when we use that as a conjunction, we use might in the subordinate clause as the main clause is having past tense. Rule number 3. If the principal clause is in future tense is not used in subordinating clause beginning with when, until, before, after, etc. Present tense is used in the subordinating clause. Example, we will meet him when I want. You can see we are using present tense in the subordinating clause, though we have future tense in the principal clause. The deciding factor here is when. Rule number 4. Usually, past tense is used with expressions such as, if only, wish that, etc. Example, I wish I was a queen. We can see we always use past tense in hypothetical condition when we use the expressions like as, if only, and wish that. Thank you so much. This is all about the sequence of tenses.